What is going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building for another episode of the Shop Podcast. How was everybody feeling this weekend, man? We're having a great weekend. It's been amazing. Already a ton of people hanging out with us, so I appreciate you guys hanging out. We got a brand new guest this week. That's always fun. So you know what to do. We show love to the new guests here. Please go down in the description. Do yourself a favor. Go follow, go subscribe, do all of that good stuff. We show our guest love here at the Shop Podcast. But I appreciate everybody. Six Slayer, what's up? Shonsu, Mod of the Year, General Spartan, Ghost Fixer, Boba Fett. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Everybody comes to watch us live every week. We appreciate you guys, man. We're going to have a lot of fun. If it's your first time here, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff, man. But I'm so pumped. We got so much to talk about. Got a brand new guest. Let's get to that because that's really what's important. That's really why we're all here, man. So first and foremost, our guest this week is Risk It for the Biscuit, coming all the way from, I believe, Western Australia. Correct? Did I want to make sure?
That's right, man. Yep.
Awesome.
Western Australia.
Awesome. Want to make sure. So it's actually Sunday where he's at. So hi to the future. If you can give me them lotto numbers, that would be great. No, but appreciate you hanging out with us, man. Let everybody know where they can find you. Risk It.
G'day, man. How you doing? Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. Thanks for the invite to the show, man. I'm pretty excited to come into the show and chop it up with you guys. Fuzzy, Pong, PTK, man. This is going to be a great show. A lot happened this week. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack. A lot of opinions, a lot of Twitter opinions. Man, this is going to be pretty. This is going to be a great show. I'm pretty excited. Let's get into it.
Get into it. See, I like that. Just jumping right in feet first, man. Appreciate you, Risk It. Once again, you guys know what we do here. Please go show some love down in the comment section, down in the description. Go follow him. Go follow the channel. Subscribe. All of that good stuff, man. Appreciate you for hanging out with us, man, this weekend. So let's get to my two compatriots here. You guys, we don't really need an intro. You guys know who these guys are, but, you know, we do the formalities on the show. What's up, Deploy? Shout out to you, Blue. We're keeping the fraud to a minimum. I know Risk is on here. I know Ashtray is going to show up right after you. We're keeping the fraud to a minimum. So appreciate you guys for hanging out. But Pong, how you been this week, Mr. Pong Harvey?
Whoa, finally getting back to normal after Gamers Christmas. Listen, that was one heck of a stretch of about 6 days there or whatever it was, man. So it's been nice to get back down to business, catching up at work a little bit since I did play a little hooky last week. So I had to do that. But, man, it's great to be back on Saturday night with the Shop Podcast, my brothers, and, of course, this week, Risk It for the Biscuit. It's been a minute, man. I was on your show back when we were talking about whether or not Call of Duty was going to be exclusive or not. So wow. it has been a minute. But no, great to have him here as well. But yeah, man, the dust is settling down. Got the wrapping paper all cleaned up. We're starting to put some of the toys together. And it's looking so good right now, man. It's the golden age of gaming, as I always say. And right now it is just, it's amazing, PTK. When you look, because I got lists, you know, after watching all the shows and I was on all those podcasts, I got lists of all the games, you know, that we saw. And it is just insane the amount of content coming. Now, there was some disappointment in there as well. Of course, every Christmas, you got to get that pair of socks, that pair of underwear, right? So that does happen. But overall, man, this year felt more like E3 than it has in a couple. A lot of these companies, you know, are coming through the pandemic, learning how to do this stuff differently than maybe they had to in the past. And you can tell they're getting better at it. So yeah, let's get down to business. Let's talk some talk because I know for a fact we're going to talk some Starfield, and you know how I feel about that. So let's go.
Man. Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
We ripping the Band-Aid off that bad boy for sure. But shout out to you, Pong Harvey, man. Appreciate you every single week, man. And last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, doing 3-4 shows a week now. Got the full schedule. But I appreciate you here all the time, Fuzz. Let everybody know what's cooking up with you this week, brother.
Oh, man. Just getting back from L.A., enjoyed myself out there. Looking forward to E3 next year. Some interesting stuff over these next 12 months. So, man, just so much to get into. But glad to be on here. Glad we have Risk It for the Biscuit on here as well. Man, let's get into it.
Well, let's dive in, man. You guys heard what Fuzz said. So let's dive in. Shout out to the chat once again. Appreciate you. What's up? What just happened? How you doing, bro? Man, appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and dive in. And we starting with the poll of the week. You know how this goes. Follow me on Twitter, poll of the week every single Monday. All right, if I'm late, I do apologize. Sometimes it can be Tuesday, so don't quote me on that. But 99% of the time it's on Monday. So follow me there. Poll of the week on Monday. We talk about it here on Saturday at the Shop Podcast. So this week's poll of the week obviously had to do with the Bethesda Xbox Showcase. So it says, what was a highlight of the Xbox Bethesda Showcase? Obviously, I knew I was missing a bunch of options. They only give us 4 choices here. So I got Starfield, Forza Motorsport, Redfall, Diablo 4. Diablo 4. So Starfield ran away with this one. If you guys didn't know, you don't even need to look at the poll. Starfield ran away with this one. Yeah.
You only had to put one answer on there.
I really should have, right? I really should have just put one answer. And this is before we knew we were going to see anything. We all assumed we were going to. So Starfield, 60% of the vote. So more than half of you guys. Shout out to about the 200 people that voted. So once again, follow me on Twitter if you guys want to be a part of that poll of the week every single week. So we'll throw this to our guest, Mr. Risk It for the Biscuit. Out of those 4 options, maybe you had a different choice. That's okay. Which one of the options did you choose? What was a highlight for you?
That would be wrong. Don't ruin it. Risk it right now.
Yeah, look, I'm going to have to ruin it, man.
Mute.
I'm not a massive Bethesda fan.
Oh my God. Oh.
They're
I gotta go, folks. I'll be out of here. I'll see you next week, all. It was great.
I think Redfall was it for me, man. I think that was a big surprise.
Nice.
I wasn't thinking that it was going to be. It was a showstopper, right? Well, I wasn't thinking it was going to be the showstopper that it was, man. As soon as it come on screen, especially with all that negative press that we got from the leaks, it kind of starts to sway you. You're a little bit wary of what's going to come out, but we should have known better, man. It's Arcane. They know what they're doing. Graphically, it looked amazing. Some of those special
if you went back and watched
it
in 4K as well, the 4K it showed way better on the 4K when they released the 4K stream. So go back and watch it on the 4K. Yes, it's amazing looking game.
Yeah, I mean, but this hate that's coming on Starfield, just to say, that's ridiculous, man. That looked good. I will play the game, but it's just so big, man. I got limited time, so man, to me, a game that's going to take me. I'm going to explore every planet, right? It's 1,000 planets. It's the rest of my life. So, so yeah, I don't know, man. I think Redfall was it for me. That and the Curious Case of Benedict Fox, man. But I mean, that wasn't on the poll, was it?
No, it wasn't. But once again, didn't have to be. It was your choice. Once again, at the end of the day, I only got 4 options, so sometimes stuff doesn't make the cut.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if people missed the Curious Case of Benedict Fox, that gave me like full Ori vibes, and I loved Ori, man. That was a game that I think I played through it twice, Ori, because it's just so beautiful and just really well put together, and 120 frames, man. That game is excellent. So, I mean, that game gave me those Ori vibes, and I don't mind a beautiful side scroller, man. I don't know about you, but that's my jam for sure.
Oh, absolutely. So once again, that Benedict was a Curious Case of Benedict Fox, correct?
Last case of
Benedict Fox. That game looked amazing, and it definitely gave me Curious Case, last case, but it definitely gave me Ori vibes. Well, I got the same feeling that you got watching it. Very, very spooky. The graphically looked kind of like watercolory, kind of like Ori. So great looking game. Definitely waiting to hear more about it. So that definitely was a highlight. Shout out to Bacon, Gray Monad. Appreciate you. So yeah, I agree, man. Those are some highlights as well. And once again, Redfall looked amazing. I had to go back and watch it a couple different times, and it looked phenomenal. The more I watch it, the more I got excited for it. So once again, chat, let us know what you guys feel about this poll of the week. Let us know right now down in the chat. Appreciate you guys, man. But Mr. Pong, so I don't even need to ask you this. This is not even for you. This question is not for Pong at all. This is a silly ass question. Don't even know why I put up this poll. But,
it was the perfect poll, PTK. It was the perfect poll because you had the correct answer right on top. I mean, that was amazing, and 60% of the people got it right. So again, no, this all jokes aside, this you got a great list here, and as Riskett just pointed out, with a game like the last case of Benedict Fox and those things showing up as well, this is actually, it could go any which way.
Yep.
It's people's personal preference when it comes down to these things about what you're looking forward to, what you think you're going to play the most. Obviously, again, you can't go wrong with Motorsport. You can't go wrong with Redfall. You can't go wrong with Diablo 4. Diablo 4 looked absolutely freaking incredible, and it was showing on the Series X. That's exactly what we're going to see when we pop it in next year. So all of these were good, but of course, Starfield, star of the show, as expected. I didn't want to see it at the showcase for the reason it's bittersweet.
He said that. We got the receipts. You did say that.
Yeah, I did say that. It's bittersweet. Now it feels further away than it ever did before for me. because I cannot wait to jump into this game. And everything that was shown, Todd did a masterful job, the team over at Bethesda, putting the clips together of this game, showing off exactly the main mechanics and some of the gameplay that we are going to be experiencing, just like they do for all their games. Gave us great bite-sized bits of everything that we could possibly ask for. Yes, there's still some surprises to be had out of this game as far as to what we're going to be able to do, what we're going to be able to experience. But again, you could not showcase this any better. And it simply stated, we're giving you the biggest Bethesda RPG sandbox that we've ever had, ever. And we're going to give it to you. And we're going to let you do whatever you want to do. If you like risk it and you don't want to spend your life in it, you don't have to spend your life in it. But if you're like Pong Soul and you want to spend, and he wants to spend his life in it, he can spend his life in it. That's how these games work. And they did just such a phenomenal job of showing all that off. I mean, again, the starship construction, man, everything about that game just hit home for me. Yes, there was some concerns that I do have, which we can talk about later, that I did see out of it. But other than that, can't wait for this game. Starfield, run away for me. So, did we lose PTK, or is he on mute?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry, I had to grab some. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no problem. You thought I was going to talk for 30 minutes. I understand.
I did. I'm sorry. I'm so listen. See, you got me trained, Pong. It's your fault. This is
the
fault.
poll.
Yeah.
I try to keep it short for the poll. All right.
So no, appreciate you, man. But obviously, Starfield. I think anybody that watched the conference, or was privy to watching the conference, was looking for Starfield. I think that was on everybody's mind, whether or not you actually wanted to see it. I thought, based just on the fact that we're looking at maybe Q1 here, that they have to show it this year, in some capacity. Now, will we get something down the line, like a formal show, like just showcasing Starfield itself? Probably. That's typical Bethesda. So I'm looking forward to the next coming months. We got the VGA, so we might see more there. We got some other events that we possibly could see more stuff at. And you know if they're going to keep doing the vid docs that they've been doing, Pong?
That I don't know. Now that this has happened, I'm assuming we are going to have some more glimpses at it. But the vid docs, the Vio docs, whatever you want to call them, were different from some of the stuff they've done previously. So I'll be interested to see as well, PTK, if they do continue down that road. It's a great question. I think at this point, those docs were more set up to kind of give us a little bit of background into the development, some of the thoughts on it. Now that we've actually seen it, I think going forward, they're going to get more specific with some of the mechanics, maybe, and some smaller pieces, or maybe, like you said, a bigger showcase towards launch where we do get a even bigger blowout on it. That's certainly possible. I'm curious too, PTK. I don't have a good answer for you on that one. This is different.
And that's what's exciting. Curious, but exciting as well, too. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. The show was phenomenal. Lots there. Once again, only 4 can fit on the list. There's a ton of different stuff. And once again, chat, let us know what was a highlight of the show that you guys enjoyed as well. If it wasn't on the list, that's fine. They showed a ton of games. So, Fuzz, I don't even know why I'm asking him. What are we doing here, Pong? I have no idea why I'm asking him this question.
No, I know. We already know he's going to say the wrong answer. So go ahead.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm picking the only one that truly looked next generation.
Oh my goodness! Wait! Whoa!
So are you saying graphics are
whoa! Did he just go there, Paul?
Yeah, he did.
He just slapped you with the leather glove.
He came back from LA with a little bit of attitude.
Oh my goodness, that's a slap in the face.
No, all the games on that stage look great, and I'll be honest with you, Redfall definitely did surprise. Everything I was expecting for Starfield showed up, and I'm happy to have seen it. But the main course that I was there for was, of course, Forza Motorsport, and they didn't disappoint in any way, shape, or form. They definitely pulled out all the stops to show exactly where that game is headed, and they made some undercover slight jabs over at another famous racing game at the other platform. But all things aside, they definitely turned it up compared to their last iteration from Motorsport 7. Everything from the smallest of details, the track, the live events on track, as far as the people the suspension and tire model that they made mention, and then they even had like a afterward show to go into more detail on more stuff, but I'll get to that later. But everything I was hoping to see visually from Motorsport, they didn't disappoint in any way, shape, or form. But all things considered, that was my highlight of the show. But I have to give kind of like a famous mention to High on Life. That was the completely unexpected game that I definitely want to screw around in, as far as with like living weapons basically that shoot ungodly ammunition at aliens from other worlds and stuff like that. So and having like the Rick and Morty voicing one of the producers from it, working on that game, that definitely looks like a ton of fun. But my vote went to
surprise too. That one, that was a big surprise. It was like, whoa, this man, and it was like Morty talking. I was like,
super pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I don't think anybody expected that one like that. If there was a leaker out there and they had leaked that, I mean, I don't think I'd be mad, but still, that was the best surprise, and it I can't wait until they release that thing. But Motorsport's my vote for the poll of the week, though, and you guys pretty much know why.
So I do want to go ahead.
I was just gonna say shout out to Google for jumping out of the pool so that a game like High on Life could come over, because we've now found out that was going to be Stadia.
Yeah. Oh wow!
Yeah. Along with the Quarry,
Google, thank you.
Along with the Quarry, which a lot of people are enjoying now too. So thank you, Google. You gave.
They got Don Matrix over there at Google now. Don over there hanging out at Google. But shout out to Google once again for providing us these games. You guys don't need them anyway. You're not doing anything. But anyway, straight shots at Google. Anyway, so I do want to show some. Before we move on, I want to show some love to Diablo 4. Yeah, because that's not necessarily my type of game. I'm playing Diablo 4. I'm gonna buy Diablo 4. And I'm playing Diablo 4 because I've recently, Game Pass has gotten me into these dungeon crawlers, these grindy like type games. Game Pass is like, I fell in love with those kind of games, and that game looked fucking amazing. Like that game showed extremely well. I know that community is like split about it. I don't give a shit because I don't play it. It looks great, so I'm gonna play it.
What are they split on?
No, that's my problem.
Listen, I think the only split is like they're afraid of microtransactions.
It's because it's the Diablo Immortal thing. The Immortal thing has kind of made everybody a little gun shy.
It's not a mobile game.
It's not.
But what they are going to do is they're going to lock the cosmetics behind huge paywalls. They are going to do that, and for some people, for some people who play Diablo, cosmetics are a big part of it, and everybody's afraid that they're going to slack on the regular cosmetics and then make the locked ones, the paid ones, the best ever to try to force people into buying them who really do care about cosmetics. I can sit back and say, I'm not going to buy anything I don't want to buy. I really don't care if I don't look good. It is what it is. But the hardcore Diablo fans, it is a big part of the original Diablos to look good. So it's just one of those things.
You can't even see your character. Come on, man. You're up in all these monsters swinging a massive, I don't know, scythe or like throwing a wanderer. You can't see what they're wearing.
When you got glowing angel wings and stuff, you can definitely see your character.
When you go into the screen, your inventory, I'm sure you can see your full character. But I mean, it is what it is. I've seen so many videos on YouTube, people talking about, oh, I'm so worried about it. But look, as a casual of Diablo, I'm buying the shit. I'm playing it. Looks great. So I just wanted to throw a bone to Diablo 4 because I thought it showed. It was one of the best showing games on at the actual event itself. So I think it did a great job. I think it did a great, and it looks beautiful. So moving on, and once again, that was a poll of the week. Shout out to everybody watching. If you want to be a part of that, follow me on Twitter. All that information down in the description. Every single Monday, then we talk about it here at the Shop Podcast on Saturday. Man, appreciate everybody hanging out with us. You guys are fucking amazing. And we're moving on. We're talking more Starfield. Pong, look at this. More Starfield. Look.
I know, man. I wrote these topics. You just posted it and said these are the topics.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. He's like, he has this, like, we have this brain connection. You just sent me over Starfield. So we're talking a little about Starfield and specifically about some of the new details. Obviously, we got the extended show. All right. We got the extended show. got to hear a little bit of more details about Starfield. Some of the other cool things, some things people are all over the place about. Once again, you have your own opinion. We're cool with that on this podcast. We don't have an issue with that. It's fun when we don't agree, right? It's kind of why we do this. So whether you feel one way or the other, I'm super excited about it. But I want to get into some of the details specifically, and we'll start with you, Risk It. Some of the additional details about Starfield, where you at? I know the whole, being able to fly your plane in and out of the planets. People tried to kind of,
Wait, did you just say plane?
No, I said the planets. I said being able to fly.
No, you said fly your plane.
Oh, well, your spaceship. Sorry.
Okay.
Your rocket ship.
This isn't Flight Simulator, okay? All right, let's go.
You know what I mean, Pong? Good Lord. No, but yeah, being able to fly. So some things, kind of fell on deaf ears. But where are you at? We'll start with you, Risk It.
Where am I at with Starfield, man? I thought it looked to me. I've got zero complaints, man. Bethesda's DNA in that game, you can see it all over it. Look, I made a post of me cross-eyed, saying that I got some leaked footage of of Starfield. But look, man, like there was some of the character models are very Bethesda, man, and I don't think it's a bad thing. You're creating a game that's got 1,000, even though they're procedurally generated, 1,000 planets, like. 4 full cities, and everyone's complaining about this whole 4 full cities thing. There's only 4 cities, 1,000 planets. Man, like those 4 cities are going to be massive.
Oh, man.
They're going to be huge. Like, I mean, you could talk 4. I don't know, man. Like, it's not talking 4 golf balls. These tiny little things, man. You're talking about massive cities that Bethesda will definitely populate with NPCs. Things to do, things to check out. Man, there's nothing in there that I'm worried about. It is a bit of a bummer not being able to fly your plane into the atmosphere.
Oh, could you stop?
It's a bit of a bummer not being able to fly a spaceship into the atmosphere, man. That's a little bit of a letdown. But man, in every single game that you play, there's always little caveats, man. Like that you shit or things that you want out of the game that you're not going to get. I will say I can see that leak that we had earlier in a few months ago with that developer coming out to say that the ship-to-ship combat was a little janky. That's probably my only concern at this point. With the jankiness of the ship combat, it looked cool. But I can see what he's saying or where it's coming from. It just kind of the feels of it from watching it. I mean, you've obviously got to get your hands on it to make a judgment, but it did look a little on the jank side. And the only
they've never done this before, by the way.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we got. I mean, I don't mean to jump in here, but I'm gonna give them some leeway. And once again, I have no point of reference for this type of game. So you could say, No Man's Sky or something like that, but I'm gonna give them a whole lot of leeway. It looked great in my opinion.
Well, that's
for a first swing.
That's that comparison to No Man's Sky is just stupid cap, man. Honestly, that's ridiculous. You're comparing a tiny little, not even AA developer, and a game that's been out for, I don't know, man, I think it's about 6 years that game's been out for, to a game that's like AAA, massive Bethesda. It's chalk and cheese, man. You can't compare that. Anyone's comparing that, it's just, honestly, doesn't know gaming. Like, I wouldn't listen to that block delete type shit for me. The only other concern that I had, I mean, I think everything looked great, man. I think they've got a lot of people complaining about the combat, like the shooting. I mean, they never got shooting right? I don't think I can think of a Bethesda game. I even talking Wolfenstein. Like, if you want to talk to me about Wolfenstein, I'm going to tell you there's something that feels wrong about that shooting. I can't put my finger on it. I'm not the only person that said that. And I think Bethesda as a whole studio have never got shooting right. Caveat Doom, obviously. But it looks like they might have shooting down pat. I think that looked pretty good to me. The only concern was, man, sometimes those frames were dipping all the way down to 12 frames per second. So that's a bit of an issue, and that might be why we're seeing this delay.
True. That may be something. So we'll get into that. I want to get Pong's opinion because I know we've been talking about this for the last week or so, but Pong, dive in on that, kind of pick up where he left at.
Look, where to start with Starfield? Holy cow. Look, listen. I said it in answering the poll question. They did everything right in this showcase. They showed us what we needed to see. This is Bethesda. They make a specific type of RPG. This is not a curated type of RPG like a Mass Effect is. People keep saying, well, it's not a Mass Effect. There's too much here for Starfield. We want something like Mass Effect. Look, if you want that, run the main line. Run the mainline adventure. Todd already came out and said it. 20, 40 hours, you can get through this game, have the whole mainline story, you're good to go. They're just, they make RPG sandboxes. This is Bethesda's style through and through. The creation engine, even though this is an upgraded creation 2.0, the creation engine was not made to be Unreal Engine 5 and be a visual powerhouse. Okay, it was never designed that way. It was designed to give devs and modders freedom when adding things for the NPCs, for the AI, for all of that stuff that makes a Bethesda title a Bethesda title. It was never made to be this graphical showpiece type system. So what I saw was a definite leap over the past. What this did tell me is that Bethesda put a lot of time into the creation engine 2.0. They went out and actually, for the first time, had a whole group of engineers specifically hired to work on the engine itself. Back in the day, the devs were doing part-time work on the engine. They would develop the game, and then they would also go and fix the engine. Now they actually have an engineer team for the engine itself. Look, you can tell the NPCs look a lot better than before.
Definitely.
A lot better. We're talking about emotions. We're talking about all of that. You can talk about the dead eyes. Look, nobody's gotten eyes right. Okay, there's very few games. Let me put it that way. If I really sat down and thought about it, I could probably come up with a couple games that have done eyes right. That's always been my big thing. Steele and I talk about this all the time. The eyes are the next generational leap for game characters, because the eyes, if you don't get them right, you're going to get that doll eye effect. It's very difficult to simulate the human eye and the life behind it. That's kind of where we're at. But again, here with the character face models, I saw expressions that we didn't normally get out of Bethesda, all that stuff. Gunplay looked great. Look, let me tell you something for anybody out there, whether you're being willfully ignorant or you just never played a Bethesda title before, they start your character as a weakling. That is what they want. They always have you start out very poor in every type of skill, and then you level up as a traditional RPG, and you feel that power growing as you get higher. Go ahead, go pull up, go right now, go download Fallout 4, start the game, get your first pipe pistol, and tell me how the shooting feels. And then go level up your character, get to about a level 30 or so, and go get yourself a kiloton radium rifle with all the mods on it.
I can.
Yeah.
I thought I was doing the podcast. Sorry.
Yeah. Then tell me how the shooting feels once you get leveled up and you get a kiloton rifle and you got it all modded out. That is staple of Bethesda titles. Listen, they've done this before, and the shooting in this one, for it being low level, for the people that didn't notice in the video, I've watched this now back literally 14 times. Those are level 2 enemies you are fighting. So you're probably a level 1, level 2 there. And actually the shooting with basic weapons looked even better than normal, which is kind of on point for the game, because you are in the future, so you're not running around scrapping together a bunch of, a lawnmower piece here and some chainsaw pieces there and trying to fit together a weapon. You're going to have some weapons, but it actually did look better, and it looks like it felt better. Again, we won't know until we actually get our hands on it, like Risket said. The one thing I will criticize about the shooting, there's two things. First of all, Bethesda, we got to get those grenades working, man. The grenade looked like a firecracker. Okay, that look, man. Come on, make some explosions. All right, let's
Smoke
do it.
bomb.
Yeah, exactly. Number two, if I'm point blank with a shotgun, look, I need to see that Fallout gore, baby. I need to see the blood splattering. I need to see possibly limbs going. I need to see all of it. That shotgun blast that one dude took at the top of the stairs with no blood splatter, he kind of slumped down to the ground. Yeah. No. We got to fix that. That's why you got this delay. Let's get that cleaned up. That's got to be much better than that. But otherwise, it looked fantastic. Shipbuilding, outrageous here. Outrageous that they've put this in. Now, we were all hoping for it. There had been some leaks that we've talked about on other shows before that were hinting that this was definitely a possibility. Those leakers seem to be real. These were real leaks. Like, you had to dig for them, but whoever put them out there seemed to be on the right track. So the shipbuilding is off the charts. Being able to customize your ship, having multiple weapon systems, you're going to be able to swap in, swap out. You can decide to make a freighter. If you want to make a freighter, you can do that. You got to hire a crew to bring on board to help you run the ship if you want that. Look, all that stuff is absolutely fantastic. Be able to customize the colors on the ship. I mean, on that part, I was
That's
like,
crazy.
whoa.
That's gonna be crazy. That was definitely a highlight for me as well.
That was awesome.
Because
Yeah,
I'm all for it. People, devs giving the community, handing the tools over to the community. I'm all for that and saying, hey, do something cool with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, absolutely. The environments looked upgraded from what we expect from Bethesda. Some of those cities, the one city, New Atlantis, that they showed off, that gave off real Mass Effect vibes there. That was absolutely gorgeous. Tons of NPCs on the screen. I don't know how many people picked up on that. In the short clip that they were walking through the city, there was a lot of NPCs there. All of that looked great. People complaining about the color scheme. Look, that's the palette that Bethesda likes to use. You're not going to get a No Man's Sky color palette. I'm sorry. If you like bright Outer Worlds, right? Bright colors, No Man's Sky, bright colors. You're not going to get that from Bethesda. They go for that darker, grittier look and feel. They, obviously they use some filters over the top of it. That's what you're going to get. So again, for me, watching this as a Bethesda fan, as somebody who's played their games, I was like, yeah, this looks a lot better. This looks like a Bethesda game. I'm all in here as well. Base building, they showed it. They mentioned it. They seem like this time they've heard the complaints from Fallout 4, and they've made it more of an option than before, where if you want to go build bases, you can go build bases. It's obviously going to help you if you're planning on building spaceships all the time and stuff. You got to collect a lot of resources. The base building is definitely going to help you. But you could hire people, bring them on board, let them run the bases. You don't have to be all hands-on if you don't want to. So this seems like they've definitely heard some of the community and are taking it in a different direction, but still giving the option and expanding on it, because some of the base building I saw there was even more expansive than what we've gotten from them in the past. So that was incredible. Look, some of it is No Man's Sky, right? I said it live on stream reactions when he pulls out the laser mining equipment and, collecting the iron off the cave wall. Yeah, I said right away, I said No Man's Sky. But you want to know what? No Man's Sky, this game, first of all, was started development before No Man's Sky. Okay, so let's get that out there. But anyways, everybody's games are influenced by something. No Man's Sky was also influenced by general sci-fi from about the 60s. And in the 60s, they were using laser mining equipment. I don't understand why people think that the Bethesda was going to have pickaxes in this game or something. Like, that's not what you're going to do in the future, folks, okay? Laser mining equipment is obviously the evolution. That's natural evolution. And Bethesda told us up front, they're going for NASA punk, meaning they want to keep it in a realistic manner. They went and talked to people, went to companies that are looking into the future of certain types of equipment. They went to robotics. They have some people in their dev team that their backgrounds are in robotics. They wanted to keep it realistic. They weren't going so far fetched into the future. They wanted to keep it grounded in somewhat realism. So obviously that's going to be there. So of course it's going to look like that. Of course they're going to mine that way. Look, that doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Games influence each other all the time. If they looked at No Man's Sky, good, because No Man's Sky is a great game. It's changed a lot. I bought it day one on PS4. Okay, I was playing it day one, so I know how much it's changed. It's changed drastically. But again, Starfield's a whole different beast from No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was going for a different type of game and a whole different type of goal in that game. That entire game was just wrapped purely around exploration. Yeah, that's in Starfield, but they have a whole story. They have NPCs. They've got side quests everywhere, all wrapped up in this universe. And for the people saying they don't know what the main story is yet, I don't know what you guys were watching. They showed off a good piece of the main story in there. They gave you some good background. One big part of it is you join one of the factions who are kind of like the last explorers in space, and you're looking for these alien artifacts that people have found and have been sold to collectors, and you got to go get them off the collectors. And then you also got to find some that are still buried out there. And all these artifacts build something alien that is going to give us, hopefully, some answers to why we're here or what's out there, which Todd and the team have told us is the overarching theme of this game. So all of that's in there for you. You just got to go find it a little bit, but it's there. And again, you can mainline that, move on. You don't have to play the game beyond that. Go for it. It's still going to be a great experience for you because Bethesda's story writing is some of the best ever. Love that they went back to the no talking protagonist. I think that's fantastic. That's going to open up so many more options when it comes to dialogue, when it comes to choices, when it comes to consequences. Again, not a curated type experience like a Mass Effect where you can voice the main character. You still have options. You still have choices in Mass Effect. You still have consequences, but they're limited because of the dialogue. This way, it opens it up even more. And they said they've got over 200,000 lines of dialogue in this game. The cities, 4 main cities is what their exact words were. 4 main cities. There's going to be smaller settlements. There's going to be smaller cities. 4 main cities, with New Atlantis being the biggest city that Bethesda has ever handcrafted before. Look, that says something. So we are going to get plenty of content out of this.
Can I just throw in there on what you were saying, Pong, as well? This is what bothers me about what everyone's saying about, oh, you've got 1,000 planets, only 4 cities. Yeah, there'll be settlements, but also this is Bethesda. They don't just make a game and then leave it alone.
No.
And then you've got the modding community. Like this is going to be getting developed like for years and years. So man, that's stupid.
Yes, you're getting to my end point for sure, Risk It, because the modding community is huge, and both Phil and Todd.
I heard that a lot.
Yeah, we had mods for Skyrim. Mods for Skyrim were available on console. Okay, now it wasn't the biggest selection; it was a curated selection. Obviously, not every mod from PC can be available on console, but they really had a big selection. If you can go into the store right now on Skyrim, and you can browse all the mods that are out there. This is going to be even bigger for Starfield. Both Phil and Todd want mods to be available on console. They want that to become a bigger thing this generation because now the hardware is more PC-like. So you are absolutely right, Risk It. The modding community is going to go absolutely insane with this game. Look, we're going to get the Enterprise. We're going to get the Millennium Falcon. We're going to get X-Wing fighters. We're going to get TIE fighters. We'll probably get lightsabers at some point. We'll probably get phasers at some point. Look, we're going to have it all. And if you don't think you're not going to be fighting, Klingon birds of prey at some point, you're crazy because we are. Okay. That's exactly what's going to happen in this game. And then those 1,000 planets, the ones that are blank canvases, my God, the modding community is just going to have a blast with that. They're going to be able to make whatever they want to. There'll be whole adventures on those planets that we never thought we would get. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Risk It. The space flight looked great. Keep in mind, Risk It, the space flight actually looked really good to me. Again, not until I get my hands on it, but they weren't flying agile fighters in that, in what they showed us. They were flying bigger spaceships. And I thought it looked really, really well done.
It did look weighty. It did.
Yes.
The physics seemed to be pretty good in my opinion. Once again, I'm not a physics expert.
No. And we haven't tried it. It's just from video. So we're just watching it. So it's difficult to tell. Yeah. But those big ships are not going to turn like a fighter, right? If you've ever played Elite Dangerous, you'll get a really good idea of what the space combat should be like. And I'm hoping they said that they did take inspiration from other space games as well, obviously, especially with the flight and stuff. So I can't wait to get my hands on it. And then changing out the weapon systems and figuring that out. That's going to be fantastic as well. But overall, Starfield did everything it needed to do. There will always be the haters. There will always be the doubters. There will always be those people, no matter what you show them, no matter what system it's on, it does not matter. They will always be there. At the end of the day, Bethesda fans are going to come out in droves for this game. And to me, right now, as it stands, we've got another generational type game on our hands. We got another game that in 10 years, we're going to be getting an anniversary edition, just like we did with Skyrim this past year. This is another huge moment for Bethesda, and obviously Todd's dream that he's had for over 2 decades finally coming to life. And they're going to take this time that they've got in this delay. They're going to polish some things up. This probably will be the most polished Bethesda game that we've ever gotten, but it's certainly not going to be bug free. It's certainly not going to be without its issues. That's just part of the deal, right? Some people say, well, you just cap for Bethesda if you excuse the bugs and stuff. I don't care. then say I do, because I'm always going to. It's part of the charm of Bethesda games. When you create something, worlds that are so expansive, they try to do things that other devs would shrink at thinking about trying to do. When you've got randomness in these games this size with AI that is completely random, and you can have these experiences that nobody else can have. They can be your experiences in Starfield. Chances are, outside of the mainline quests and side quests, whatever you discover and stuff, chances are you won't have a friend who had the same experience in Starfield. They are all fingerprints of your own. And Todd said it again at this show, and then Pete Hines reiterated it again on the second show. This game is not just about what we are feeding you. This game is about the stories that you will create. That's what our games are all about. That's why when I call it an RPG sandbox, that's exactly it. If you want to sit in one corner of the sandbox and ignore all the rest of the toys, all the rest of the sand, you can do that. That's fine. Go, no big deal. You play how you want to play. But they're going to give you this giant sandbox for everybody else who wants to go dig here, go build sandcastles over here, do all this stuff in the sandbox. That's the beauty of Bethesda titles, and Starfield is the next one. This is a brand new IP. Everybody should be excited for it. Don't let the energy demons out there try to sap your hype for this game if you are hyped. If it's not a game for you, no problem. Like I always say, I don't care. That's fine with me. But day one for me, I know I'm losing hundreds, probably thousands of hours to this game by the looks of it. So you can do whatever you want to. You can, and again, they even showed docking on they showed you docking to other ships. And then Todd confirmed you can take over those ships. You can steal those ships. Look, I'm going to become a space pirate. I'm flat out going to become a space pirate. This is going to be a blast. As far as the takeoff, I'll just end on this. As far as the takeoff and landing thing, would it have been cool? Yes. In No Man's Sky, is it an awesome experience? Yes. After you've done it a couple hundred times, is it the same experience? No, it's not the same experience. And in an RPG like this, chances are most of the people complaining about that or trying to complain about that are the ones who are going to fast travel everywhere anyways, right? So who cares, right? So again, it would have been cool what I've said. Wow, that's really neat that they did that. Yeah, I would have, but it not being there is not in any way, shape, or form going to diminish the overall experience. And
it's not game breaking, is it? That's not
no. And to risk its point, just give the modders a little bit of time. I can guarantee you we'll have planet landing and planet takeoff soon enough. So it's coming. But no, great showing. Absolutely loved it. Again, the show was a 10 out of 10 with Starfield for me. Again, if I take out my bias, the show was an 8 out of 10, but Starfield definitely showed up. Now it's just the waiting game. That's where it's bittersweet for me, because now I just want it in my hands. In November seemed really far away, but now this seems like 5 years away right now. So I can't wait for it.
Well, shout out to Smitty, first of all, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, bro. He said, good evening, everyone. Shout out to you, Smitty. Appreciate you, bro, man. Showing some good love there, man. Appreciate the support there, brother. So thank you so much for that. So yeah, fuck, we go. And I don't know how you follow this up. I should have actually let Pong go last. Really?
Yeah. Wait. Hold on. PTK, don't make that mistake. If we talk about Forza, you gotta let me go first, okay?
That's true.
And then Forza, you go last. Okay?
You're right. That's a damn good point. It didn't even really matter then. It didn't even really matter which one. But so I do want to say something about, before we get to you, Fuzz, about what you said, Pong, regarding the flying and landing.
Yeah.
Right. And me and Fuzz talked about this earlier. We were on the Xbox in the party chat. We talked about this, and Todd said it. The amount of work that it would take to get this right, to do it the right way, right? The way that everybody envisions it, the amount of work it would take to get it the right way is going to take away from something else that they could have been working on.
Yep. Correct.
So
and you don't want that to happen.
And
right?
you do not want that to happen. You got to think about, you can't, people are thinking about the small, just the small people. You got to think about the bigger picture. That takes work away from other things that they could be working on in the game to, further the story, further the experience, the idea that they're trying to get across. I don't know.
And they're still letting you land anywhere you want to on the planet, which is really cool, because I thought it was going to have set points, but no, you can land anywhere you want to on the planet. So that's the bigger deal to me. Instead of having certain landing spots that you'd have to go to,
That's pretty damn impressive.
That's really cool. So again, the little cinematic as a takeoff or a landing to me is no big deal. We've seen it done forever, and again, it wears off. The experience does wear off once you get used to it. No Man's Sky, it's like, okay, cool. I'm jumping into space again. This is sweet, great, cool. But again, it's not the same experience. When I first popped in No Man's Sky, I was like, yo, this is awesome. Wow, look at this. I can fly through the atmosphere, and I can, and go into space, or I can come down to land. I can fly over the surface. All that was cool. Now that does bring up one other question I do have that I'm hoping they're going to show us is, how are we going to traverse these giant worlds? If we can't fly our ship, that means we got to have other modes of transportation. We saw a little bit of the jetpack, but that's going to be very limited.
You mean some type of rover or something?
Yeah, or some type of off-road vehicles, planetary exploration vehicles, something I've got to assume is in there so that we can travel these worlds, not just on foot, if you're talking about an entire planet, for God's sakes. So that's another question I have that's hopefully answered at some point.
Great point. I hadn't even thought of that. Go ahead, Fuzz.
Well, I'll start off with the ship, ascent and descent type of deal. I said this on Boom Show on Friday, and I'll say it again. I understand people want to have the control, but if this is to be grounded in some form of like reality, or as far as like with NASA and so forth, you look at the space shuttle. I'm talking about the original space shuttle, not what SpaceX is doing now, but like the space shuttle from the 80s and 90s and such. When that was re-entering the atmosphere, a lot of times the astronauts are not at full control. There's a lot of computer controls that handle that descent and re-entry as far as to the planet. So at most, if something goes awry, they have to make some small adjustments. But it was smaller inputs, and it was mainly for like the landing. The takeoff, I mean, they didn't really do or have full control until the rocket boosters are off the shuttle. Now, fast forward to today, you got SpaceX, where a majority of the flight of those ships are handled, at least until they're way in space. It's automated, and that's one of the things that, with the way SpaceX and Elon Musk wanted to make it so it's left to the computers to kind of handle it via autopilot. So this is supposed to take place 300 years in the future. Do we think astronauts are going to have more control or less control? So I understand some want to have the control to be able to go into space and see that atmosphere change, going from like whatever the blue skies or red skies to the stars and the darkness of space. But I think they'll probably, especially like with No Man's Sky, like I'm one that I like that transversal, but it's just, I wish there was like an easy button that's like, all right, just get me over to the planet instead of spending this extra 30 seconds or 50 seconds going through the clouds or whatnot. But overall, Starfield it definitely showed up. Now, yes, I threw some shade earlier because for me, Motorsport showed up even larger for as far as what I was expecting. But definitely Starfield showed a lot of things that caught my attention, like the gunplay in particular. And I'm not the biggest of a Bethesda fan as far as like with Fallout or Skyrim. I've played a bit of Fallout 4. It's not really my thing. I call it, I guess most of it was the graphic end of it in comparison, but the graphics for Starfield are definitely more of what I prefer as opposed to the look of what you see for like a Fallout. But as far as the gunplay is concerned, didn't see anything like VATS or anything along those lines, but I do like I guess you could say the momentum or the visceral feel, other than like what Pong said about the blood spatter from like the shotgun. You can see it hitting the enemy and it affecting them. Yes, the grenades were not the biggest as far as what we would expect on explosions, but then that might be the lower level grenades, so I guess you got to upgrade those as well. But the gunplay in general looked awesome, and I'm hoping that we see more variety before mods, as far as like the different type of weapon types and things like that. So you're not throwing like railgun projectiles at like some of the dinosaur or crab-like creatures from other planets. I don't think it's going to hurt them all that much. And it seemed like it had like like a gravity effect, and I get this impression that they're going to take all of those things into account, the different atmosphere, the different gravitation
they are
levels and things like that. So that part I think is going to be probably the most satisfying as far as the combat aspect of things. The space combat, I love the explosions and the basically the like you guys had already mentioned, the weight to it, where you're seeing like pieces of the thing fly off or it start to smoke or start to combust and stuff like that before it explodes or breaks into pieces and things. But a lot of that looked better than what I was expecting. Like, and it's no disrespect to Bethesda as far as like what I've seen from their previous games, but I know a lot of people that aren't necessarily the biggest Bethesda fans were kind of concerned, like, oh, it's going to look like that other game. But I would say it definitely exceeded what I saw in Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, graphically, Mass Effect Andromeda is a lot better even than what the trilogy is. From a graphic standpoint, and this is a step up from that. And I'm not talking about like the Dead Eye version. I'm talking about like after they patched that and fixed most of those concerns as far as the facial expression. And Pong nailed it as well with how those expressions are more believable. I think that's the biggest thing. You don't get that what is that syndrome called where it's like something valley, creepy
uncanny
valley.
Oh
Yeah.
uncanny. Yeah.
So they definitely did an awesome job as far as the character faces, expressions, and things are concerned. Could they be a good bit better? I'm sure when we get this thing on screen, if we're playing on an X or even on an S for that matter, I'm pretty sure it's going to look better than what they probably showed at the show, or at least on par, or at least at that level when you get it on your console. And I'm pretty sure there'll be mods for those that didn't like it for whatever reason. But for me, it definitely knocked it out of the park. Me being a big Star Trek fan, I like Star Wars as well, but more of a Trekkie, I guess you could say. There's a lot of elements in this game that I like that kind of hint to that, where it's not fantastical stuff with lightsabers and things like that. Nothing against that, but I like the fact that they're going with the more grounded aspect. And I'm pretty sure there are going to be some surprise things. Like they did show some of the I guess some of the artifacts rotating and stuff in space and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see what that winds up building or creating when you get all the pieces. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this. I am a bit saddened that yes, it's not going to be here in November. It does feel like a longer wait, but at this point, I'll have other stuff to kind of fill the gap. They just won't be sci-fi. I need my sci-fi fix, and hopefully this game will release before next June, as far as before their next showcase, which I'm pretty sure that's what the plan is. But I don't want it to be where it's like, oh, and Shadow drop today, or they don't need a Shadow drop. This hopefully everything gets wrapped up and it's polished and ready to go come March. That's what me personally what I'm hoping for. But yeah, it looked like an awesome game. A lot of the people that I saw on Twitter, especially after the showcase, it seemed like, oh, this is what you guys were waiting for. Oh, it's like it just seems like it's coming from one crowd, more so those that probably weren't looking to play Starfield anyway. So I don't understand all the spit and vinegar that they're throwing at this game, where there's, I would say, not any other sci-fi or space shooting game that looks on this level except for maybe Star Citizen, and that's a PC game that's going to cost you hundreds of dollars just to get the alpha access, and it's been in alpha for 7 years. So I think this is, from a console standpoint, this is as close as we're going to get at a much more reasonable and curated, type of deal where it's going to actually come out and be fully playable. But man, I just can't wait until this thing releases. It's definitely in my top 5 most anticipated games for the next year. But man,
can I just throw in a caveat with the ship combat? Like, Look, it's just a concern of mine. I ain't saying it's going to be bad, man. And look, we saw it, and you can kind of see it. It's not chorus, right? I get it. It's not chorus. Like that's fine. That's fine to me. And as well, you've got to think like that. You can build your ships, and obviously, as they said, you can customize your ship to how you want it to fly. I mean, that's a lot to do for a developer, like having different parts of a ship that's going to make you twist, turn, slower, faster, different weapons, all that sort of thing is but it's such an ambitious thing to do in a game. That's a concern for me. But I mean, from what we saw, you're not playing chorus, you're flying the Enterprise, or a big freighter or something like that. So I mean, that's cool with me. And I'll just no one added that those two ships came out of light speed, man, like right in front of you. That is pretty cool, man. Yes. Like you're minding your own business, and then boom, two ships out of light speed, and you're in combat.
Caught that.
That's cool.
I caught that. That was super underrated. Not a lot of people mention that. So shout out to you for catching that, Risk It.
Yeah, no, that's good. Those moments are going to happen often. Again, that's all Bethesda, just classic Bethesda. Walking around Skyrim, all of a sudden a dragon lands right in front of you, right? Out of the blue. No, you didn't have any warning. All of a sudden there's a dragon in front of you. That's the types of moments that Bethesda creates for you, and I can't wait to experience them. Character creation, too, looked so much improved, so much better than their older stuff. And again, don't forget, everybody, Todd has come out, everybody's come out now and confirmed that they're going back to the older RPG days. They're going back to the Fallout 3s, the Oblivion days. They're not doing the Fallout 4 kind of less RPG and more actiony. This is definitely going to be more RPG, and you could see that in the traits. I don't know if anybody's looked at screenshots that people have grabbed from the trailer.
Oh yeah.
But man,
that was
the
a
traits,
highlight for me.
Yeah, the traits look so cool. The crafting, they are looking at taking the Fallout 4 crafting, which was absolutely incredible. They've done crafting plenty of times, but Fallout 4 was kind of a culmination of all that, and that's why I talked about the weapons in Fallout 4. Because they are taking that to another level by the looks of this. You're going to be able to craft food. You're going to be able to craft all this stuff, but it looks like they are bringing that all to the next level along with this game. And again, that's where the game is really going to be found, is that arc that you have starting out really low on the food chain and then working your way up until you're the Great White. And I think that that's going to be a lot of this game, if that's how you choose to play it. Again, if you just want to go explore and build bases, you're going to be able to do that. Never touch the mainline game ever if you don't want to. That's the cool part about Bethesda. But yeah, man, all this just sounds so great. Everybody brought great opinions and thoughts on this.
Absolutely. And this is a perfect segue once again, chat. Shout out to you. Shout out to Doom Cutie in the chat. Appreciate that. Mr. Bushido, what's up, my guy? Jasper, I see you in there as well, bro. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Once again, hit the like button if you haven't already subscribed. If you're new, thank you for that. Thank you for that. But that's a perfect segue. So shout out to you, Pong, for rolling us right into our next topic. And that actually is the top
Starfield.
Well, that's probably going to be on the list. Thank you, Pong. That's probably going to be on the list. But top 3 games of 2023. So once again, chat, let us know top 3 games of 2023. Let us know how you guys feel about that. What are your games? Drop them right now in the chat. Let us know. We love the interaction, so appreciate that. We always start with the guests. We let the guests do the honors here, so kind of cutting the bow. But what's your top 3 games of 2023? I'm hoping I get some surprises on some of you guys' lists. I really do. But go ahead, Risk It. We'll start with you.
Oh, man. Well, you handicapped me from the beginning right there, because one of my top games coming, it's December, right? So we could classify that as 2023, just for the sake. Callisto, man, look, the game that I'm most hyped for is Callisto Protocol. Before that show came, the Microsoft Bethesda show, which I'm sure we're going to get into and chop up. But before that show came, I said, and I'm sticking by it, I already got what I want. I'm happy, man. I got exactly what I wanted. I got the guys from Visceral, the creators of Dead Space, making another Dead Space without the lawsuit, called Callisto Protocol. Man, that game looked absolutely amazing. That to me is like top tier. Gonna be day one. I probably will take a week off to finish that game. That to me is like just easy. But I mean, there's so much in 2023, man. That is a huge. I mean, like, like everyone's saying this year's dry, man. It's about to get real wet, man. I'm telling you, you got Warhammer Dark Tide, we got Plague Tale that's probably coming, we got Valheim, we got the Forza 5 Horizon Hot Wheels. That's just 2022. You want to talk about 2023? Dude, what am I thinking? Diablo 4. Redfall. What else, man? Stalker. If we see Stalker 2 at the front end, I mean, Flintlock. There was so much. The last case of Benedict Fox, man. I honestly can't give you 3. I can maybe give you 10, but I mean, Resident Evil 4, like the DLC for that looks absolutely fire. I mean, and them doing a third person, which is what I wanted, but I played it in first person. It was amazing. I mean, I'll be playing Resident Evil 2 and 3 and going back to that with ray tracing. There's so much there for me. But 2023 top 3. Shit. All right. So High on Life, man, that game looked absolutely amazing. It looked beautiful. That's and look, it looks like fun. It's not everyone's cup of tea, that kind of game, and I can get it, but people, you don't know what kind of game it is, but you know it's going to be funny, right? You've got guns talking to you the whole time, like, you know, some dude shooting his kids out, like to kill people, but it's all good. I can make more. Like that was hilarious, man. I love that game. I'll be day oneing that game as well, and I think that's in Game Pass. Yeah, man. Day one Game Pass. You can't complain about that. Listen, I'm gonna have a fourth one at the end of this as well, but I've got to say, Diablo 4 for me floated my boat, man. That game looked absolutely beautiful. I had it running on screen before when you were talking about it, and the concerns in the community, that stuff's valid. I get what you're saying now, but to me, not worried about cosmetics. Gameplay is king, and then you back that up with graphics. Man, that game just looks beautiful, and you can see where I think it's 7 years in development, right? You can see where that 7 years has gone into. Like that just looks beautiful. I think we'll be getting that, depending on when that deal closes. If that deal closes before that game releases, I think we'll be getting that day one in Game Pass. That's another one.
Yeah.
Oh, and look, so what have I got? I got 2. Oh man! Right, okay. Tell you what. So Dead Space, the remake, of course.
Okay.
I'm the luckiest, one of the luckiest dudes on the planet. I love Dead Space. You can go back and play that game right now, and it still holds up. That's a great game. It was so ahead of its time. That game. It spawned a new age of horror. People started making horror games after Dead Space. I mean, I think it was absolutely egregious that EA shut down that studio. They were one of the most amazing studios we've ever seen, but that's EA for you. And then fourth, I'm going to go 4, if I'm allowed.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That last case of Benedict Fox, I've already talked about it, man. That just looked like it was from a tiny little developer. That looked like another Moon Studios hit banger. And I think that those games get passed over a lot. Ori got passed over. That game should have been a contender for Game of the Year. It was beautiful. It was just ambionic, if that's a word. I might have just made that up. It was, and this looks like that to me. And it looks like it's got a really, really deep story.
Yeah.
And a really, really beautiful story. If you go and look it up, I've checked up everything in and around that game. So everything I'm hearing about that game and what the developers are saying about that game, that's one not to sleep on. I would be keeping an eye on that. But yeah, those are going to be my top 4. But there's so much, man. Like I'll be
way too many games.
I'm going to need to get a divorce or something, man.
Oh my goodness. So I guess I'll go ahead and go. With mine. So one has to be Starfield. I just think that the exploration. I'm just like I played some Skyrim. I'm not a huge Skyrim guy, but I want to get in this universe. I want to give it a chance. You know what I mean? Like I want to get in here and see what it's all about. So the curiosity that this game has like created in me has, kind of drawn me to it. So obviously Starfield, and one that we really haven't talked about, which I think is super, super underrated. Probably the best Telltale games they've ever made. So I think Wolf Among Us 2. So I don't know how you guys feel about those games.
Amazing game. Amazing game.
Wolf Among Us is the best Telltale game they've ever made. I'm sorry, people that like Walking Dead. I understand.
Yep.
Please do yourself a favor. Go play Wolf Among Us. I'm a big Tales from Borderlands fan as well. That was a really good one for me. But Wolf Among Us, hands down. Wolf Among Us 2, it takes place, I believe, 6 months after that last game ended. All kind of crazy stuff's happening. So I'm definitely wanting to get into that. Let's see, another game. I would throw Diablo 4 in there because, like I said, I love these type of games now. I was never a big fan of these dungeon crawlers, and like Diablo's very unique and it's always changing and growing, and they're always adding new stuff. And every time you go back, there's maybe some new stuff. I'm into that now. I'm into the grind. I'm into getting weapons and armor, and I'm into that now. So I want to dive into Diablo 4. So that would probably be my 3 most anticipated. So, Pong, if you want to go ahead and take over, we already know where number 1's at. So
it's all 3. It's all 3. So it's just Starfield.
Starfield.
Yeah, we can start after the top 10. Then I can get into other games. And
shout out to. So I don't know when God of War is coming out.
Yeah,
I know some people said that in the chat as well. It could be. I mean, we don't know what the hell. Sony's, whenever they announce their show, we'll probably get some information. It might make this year. Rumors are it might not.
Man. I look, did have someone on the show, our show, a while back who has a direct line into Santa Monica, and she was saying that we're having some trouble. That was way back in January 2022, this year. And then later on this year, I was speaking to one of the developers. She's obviously under NDAs, man, so she didn't want to give me too much information. But what I could squeeze out of her was, and she's an animator and had just left Santa Monica. And what I could squeeze out of her was that it was chaotic over there. And that was the reason she had to move to another studio, because it was a bit too much. So I know 2 things: that they are crunching hard to get to that November release date. I think they are crunching extremely hard to get there. Whether they're going to get there, I'm of the opinion they're not going to make it. If they can get there in November, they're probably going to get Game of the Year. Maybe they'll be up against Elden Ring, but I mean, look, we know what it is. Game of the Year is always a Sony game if it's a big one, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how this all shakes out. We'll see how this all shakes out for sure. I mean, it's spicy. We'll definitely see that though. It's a lot of competition this year. There's so many games, and we're missing a ton. But Pong, I don't know if you had finished your point.
No. I can give you some real ones. So obviously Starfield, obviously, and then from there I could take the very simple way out of this. It's Diablo 4, and then obviously Forza Motorsport. Very basic. I'm basic here with this selection. Look, there's some things we don't know about. If I knew Avowed was coming next year, that would probably sneak in
definitely.
If we knew that for sure, but we don't. Some honorable mentions that haven't been mentioned here is the rest of the Persona series when that hits Game Pass. 2023 Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable. Of course, we're getting Persona 5 Royale this year, which is huge for me. So when those drop, and then Aliens Dark Descent, when that comes out next year. Absolutely ridiculously. I can't believe we're getting another new Aliens game, and it's a top-down action RPG style game. Look, I'm all in.
Oh yeah, that did look really good.
Yes, really good. With some loot, with some skills. Oh my god! And then like I said, many others have been already mentioned, like Riskit said. And shout out to Riskit and all the rest of the sci-fi horror fans who are just feasting right now. You guys
are eating good. You guys are fat belly this year.
All of horror, man. All of horror is that genre is blowing up. Not for me, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm happy.
Beautiful.
You're just gonna have to stream. Come on, Pong. Come on.
Yes. No, I will not. But I absolutely love it that all you guys are finally getting some, because that genre was way underrepresented. And now it's becoming oversaturated at this point between this year and next year. Holy cow, you guys are getting good. But that Callisto Protocol, if I could play those types of games, absolutely looks ridiculously good. But yeah, that's where I would go. Like I said, there's some unknowns in here, and there's probably a couple that I am absolutely 100% forgetting because there is so much in 2023. But I'll take the basic way out. So Starfield, Diablo 4, and Forza Motorsport.
Okay, that's safe. Nothing wrong with that. Once again, this is your top. Let us know, chat. What's your top 3 games for 2023 coming out? No wrong answers here, man. So we'll throw this over to you, Fuzz, and we obviously know. we obviously know number one. I don't really think that's a question.
Yeah, Starfield.
Starfield is up there, but of course, Forza Motorsport. I mean, I really was hoping it was going to be released later this year, but it is what it is. They'll have more time to get a few more things, hopefully, that I specially requested in the game, but we'll see. But Forza Motorsport is the top one, and then it's like there's a lot tied for second. And it's I can't just narrow it down to three. Like Starfield is up there, Flintlock is up there, High on Life is up there. I would say those are like tied for second. Then you got what is this? Erebon Shadow Legacy. That was another one that I really liked at the show.
Great.
So I really want to see what that is going to be like as far as.
Ozzy, have you tried Origami yet?
I did try that a while ago. I think it was when they had it like as a PS Plus game or something like that. Yeah. I definitely I like that style of like stealth and whatnot.
It's amazing. So underrated. Sure.
But there's so many other games that are announced but are kind of like quiet now, like Atomic Heart. That's another one I really want. Well, I don't even know if it's still coming out 2022 instead of 2023. They haven't. I mean, they keep on hinting that they're not delayed, but we don't know an official date other than they said the release date of a month ending in BER, and that's about it. So
yeah, I think it's coming out this year. I think they're going to hit their mark. So,
but there's so many awesome games out there. But Forza Motorsport, Starfield, those are the top two right now. High on Life, Flintlock, that's up there. Not too far behind. Erebon Shadow Legacy. The last case of Benedict Fox is up there as well.
And we're forgetting one too, and I haven't had anybody mention it. We haven't seen anything but the Wu Long game as well.
Yeah, the Wu Long.
That's supposed to be 2023 early, supposedly. So
And I definitely want to see. Well, Callisto Protocol is going to be 2022, so that one can fall off the list. But I can't wait to play that one. I think depending on how Callisto Protocol goes, I will either definitely pick up Dead Space because I didn't play the original, but I do like the overall look of that type of game. I don't know. I guess I was on PC playing NASCAR racing or something at the time when those were originally released. But for the most part, there's just so many games that I can't wait to see for next year. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some surprises that they announce at last minute or something along those lines. Like Somerville is another one, but no. Replace got pushed back. Somerville might still be 2022.
Yeah, Replace is on that list too. Stalker 2 when that finally drops. I mean, my God, there's just so many games next year.
2023 is going to be the year of the backlog or the year of the grazer, because it's going to be, hey, I can play this for a day. Oh, there's something else coming out tomorrow. God,
it's going to be the year of unemployment and divorce. Is what?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No, but that's all I got. It's probably a longer list of game. Well, no, it's probably a shorter list of games that I'm not really looking forward to for 2023 at this point. But that's pretty much it. Motorsport top list.
All right, well, once again, chat, let us know you guys feel top 3 games for 2023. We are now taking questions and turning this show over to chat. We do this every week. So it's kind of become a normal thing here at the Shop Podcast. So all them questions you've been holding on to, stuff that we haven't talked about, drop them right now in the chat. Let us know. We'll keep this thing going. We'll answer as many questions as we possibly can with the time remaining in the show. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with us, everybody. Shout out to Mav. I saw Caitlin in here earlier. Shout out to Zinc. Zinc, no hot takes yet. What's up with that, Pong? What is up?
We've been talking all good Xbox stuff. There's
That's
not going to be hot takes, right?
That's true.
Yeah, and we haven't brought up Kojima being Kojima was a star of the show.
Oh man!
I mean, again, we didn't bring that up.
Man.
So I mean, that right
by
there.
The way, they
didn't have to show anything. They could have just had Kojima walk out on stage and say good night, and that could have been the end of the showcase. It would have been a 10 out of 10. So
I do want to point out, being at the event, a lot of people got out of their seat and cheered for when he was on screen. I was hoping they were going to show the game. I guess the game that got leaked, Overload, which I'm assuming is the game that we're
Overdose.
Overdose.
Yeah,
they're saying that's what we're hearing. It's that game.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The way he was talking, it's still a dream right now. So Overdose seemed pretty far along. That might be a different type of game too. So we'll see. We'll see for sure.
No, is anyone super excited about Kojima? I mean, I don't know, man.
Once again, new toys, and him spreading his wing, branching out, obviously doing things for Xbox. Obviously, he's had this idea. You can hear it once again, another passion project. He felt was only capable with the cloud, things like that. So I'm curious just about what do you mean by something that we've never seen before, right? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what does that actually mean? And they're heavily emphasizing the cloud. How are they going to use that? So many questions, right? So that's kind of the curiosities kind of get me now. Once again, I've gone on record saying Kojima's a bit eccentric. For me, he's a bit eccentric. He reminds me a lot of there's some devs, some namely devs out there that I kind of looking at, in that same regard. But he is, that borderline between genius, mad scientist. He kind of has that going for him. So I'm curious to see what he does with the tools, right? Give him the paintbrush, let him go. I'm just curious to see what happens, right? I don't know.
Look, it could be interesting, man. But the last game that he put out was a UPS simulator to me. That game was. Okay, look, I didn't play it, man. I watched people play it, just to check it out, and then I had conversations with a lot of guys from the PlayStation community about what type of game, and the resounding advice that I got given. Man, you got to play it for at least 5 hours, man, and then it really starts to get good. Now, I don't know about any of you guys, but I don't want to sit around for 5 hours of a game waiting for a game to get good, man. That's not the kind of thing that I get down with. And so, look, when it comes to Kojima, I think a lot of people are just using this for bragging rights, like, oh, Xbox got Kojima. Me personally, I'm not going to cap. Like, that to me was probably... I was just like, Kojima, we'll see what he does. I mean, I could be completely wrong, man. You guys could pull this stuff up. Yeah, I'm being toxic, Bushido, whatever. You can pull this stuff.
It's all good.
You can pull this stuff back in 2 years, man. You can say, like, oh, you were wrong, man, or like however long it takes, 6 years or whatever. You were wrong, man. This game's amazing. And it could be, man. He could hit his genius once again. I do know one thing, like when it comes to Kojima, you're right. He's in between that mad scientist, genius type level of developer. But he now has access to the cloud that he never had access to before, which is, I mean, it's Xbox's new bread and butter. They're working on that cloud constantly. They want a game coming out of that cloud. They got a whole development studio to assist people to use that cloud. So that's very interesting. And he's got I would imagine, an unlimited budget. Now, I hope that's a good thing, because I think if there's a developer that could send any company with $1 trillion broke, it's probably him. I hope that him having the unlimited budget and the cloud gives us something crazy, man. I want lightning in a bottle from him. But I'm caught when it comes to Kojima, man. I think he's a hit and miss developer.
That's okay. No, that's okay. I would agree. A lot of Metal Gear fans would agree as well. I think a lot of Metal Gear fans would side with that. Once again, I don't, so.
For me, Death Stranding, like I was all on board to pick that one up until no one could answer the question with the BTs, which are those things that are like those invisible shadows where you can see like a black outline to them, and it's like, oh, you got to hold your breath so they don't see you. And then there was like a dead body that he had dropped that was like off to the side, and it attacked the dead body. And I'm like, all right, if you're holding your breath, dead bodies don't breathe. Why is he attacking the dead body? It's like an outline of a human, so why wouldn't it see you but sees the dead body? That was like that plot hole that just I couldn't get past.
Do they smell? Like, do you need to have like a shower before you leave so that you don't, don't sweat? Or how did that work? There was a lot of stuff in that game. I was I don't know about this.
Once again, it's edgy. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's probably the word for it. So once again, give him the paintbrush, let him see what he can do. Obviously, like I said, I'm always, kind of wary of Kojima, but he's once again super talented. Can't deny that. So We did get a question. So shout out to Bacon Life, my guy being here every single week. Shout out to you, Bacon, for hanging out with us, bro. He did drop a question a bit earlier, and I didn't see it. So he said, do you guys think if the ABK deal closes this year or early next year, Diablo 4 is exclusive?
No.
Not
No,
exclusive.
yeah, I don't think so. Not at all.
Nope.
Not at all.
No, they're not going to pull any of that.
Yeah, no, I don't think that changes. You do.
I do, but what Diablo? Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I mean, it'll be on PC. We know that. That's an Xbox exclusive. Is on PC. I think that's one of those games that can work well, and it won't hurt their player base too heavily. I would have to look up the figures for PlayStation, but I don't think it's going to hurt them to make that game exclusive. You're talking about COD, man. People talking about a campaign going exclusive. That's not happening, man. They're not going to do that. But Diablo. Yeah, man. I think we see that if that deal closes early, I think we see it go exclusive. Would I bet the house on it? No. But I'm pretty confident. They've got to have some big exclusives, right? They got to have when they take
new,
over
new IP will be just like Bethesda, right? New IP will be just old IP. Yeah, they want Diablo everywhere. Diablo's too big. They want Diablo everywhere. That's
Minecraft effect, basically.
I mean, look, we went back and forth on this in COD too. I mean, again, this is the age-old argument, but from all of their words, Risk-It, that is a game that has lived on other systems. They're going to keep it there. They really are. And that's my thought.
Shout out to chat. Everybody's saying it's already been announced from other systems anyway. On their website, it says PlayStation 5 as well. So they're not going to pull that on. It's once again they're going to keep the. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the exclusive will be that it's in Game Pass day one. If the deal is enough time before that.
I wish.
Yeah, look, I mean, if they've got deals, they're never going to break their deals, right? So I don't know. I've researched. This is off the top of my head question, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, I would be cutthroat. Risk-It if I was Phil. I'd be cutthroat, right?
Oh, that's why we don't hand you the keys, man.
Yeah, no, I'd be cutthroat. I would have showed you the whole roadmap for the entire generation, and everything would be exclusive, right? So I'd be cutthroat here. But Phil, I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they got a bigger vision for this whole thing.
Yeah.
So
it's not bad business if you leave it on PlayStation anyway, right?
God, no. They're going to make a ton of money.
Yeah. So I mean, for this one, they want to get back in the good graces of those Diablo fans. They're not going to take it away. People are still pissed about the Immortal, and they're not. That'd be hell. That'd be really bad faith for them to take it away from PlayStation at this point, in my opinion. But yeah, let's go ahead and keep this going. Once again, chat, let us know if you guys got questions. Drop your questions in the chat. Go ahead.
Just an interesting addition to that. Just an interesting addition to Diablo 3. Diablo 3 sold most of its copies on PC. Did you know that? They sold 12 million copies. PC.
Yeah.
That's crazy numbers. So, man, look, okay, maybe not Diablo 4. Maybe you're going to eat crow here. I don't know. But, like, if there's a Diablo 5, I would bet the house on that one. I would bet the house. Sorry, PC, man. My bad.
All right, we'll bet houses when Diablo 5 comes out. We'll bet houses.
Exactly.
We'll go there. We'll go title.
Exactly.
Right?
Shout out to everybody's watching live right now. We appreciate you. Once again, we're taking questions. So drop those questions in the chat, man. We appreciate you guys. Anything we haven't talked about, anything we haven't covered last week, this week, once again, let everybody know we're live. Hit the like button. Do all that good stuff. Everybody tells you that. So go do that stuff. We'll talk games here at the Shop Podcast. So anything that we didn't cover yet? Panel here. I know we got Pong was a lot of stuff. Fuzz. I know
you want to dive into Final Fantasy for God's sakes.
Man, I shouldn't have. See, I don't know if I want to go there.
That's fine. You don't.
No, we'll do it for the culture. We got to do it for the culture. You brought it up, so we got to do it at this point. So we kind of unscrewed the lid on that one. But so yeah, we'll talk about the Final Fantasy. Essentially, the Final Fantasy VII remake not being on Xbox probably ever, considering that they announced there is I believe that Crisis game isn't that going to be on Xbox?
Crisis Core, which is the prequel.
The prequel,
again, none of this makes sense, but this is Square Enix. So
yeah, and obviously there's a huge uproar about that. Now it depends on what side of the fence you're on, because I believe both sides have a valid case, right? One side says that does not make any sense, that this game is not on Xbox, right? And there's a lot of valid reasons why it should be on Xbox. The other side says, well, you guys, bought up whole publishers essentially taking games away from other people. Okay, that's business though, right? So there's an easy answer for both sides, in my opinion. But I do want to start with my panel here. We'll start with you, our guest, Mr. Risky for the Biscuit, man. Where you at on this, man? Where you at on that?
Do you really want my answer?
I do. I mean, we cracked the lid on this thing, man. So we gotta go full bore now.
We're allowed to swear on this show?
Well, within reason.
Man, fuck Final Fantasy. I don't give a shit about Final Fantasy. Fuck Square Enix.
That's an honest answer.
They're another hit and miss studio as well, man. Square Enix, and I don't like their culture. I don't like the way that they treat their Western studios, man. To be honest, like that shit bothers me. Like what they were doing with Crystal. Talk about Tomb Raider undersold. Everything undersold, man. The only things that don't undersell apparently are the Japanese studios, man. So look, I'm not big on that sort of. I like a fair developer that looks after their devs, man. And I don't feel that from Square Enix. And when it comes to the games, Final Fantasy. Yeah, look, 7's a loss, man. I think 7 was the last one that I enjoyed. Every other one I've played, I've been like, what the hell is going on with this story, man? This is a weird ass shit happening. Yeah, it took me about every game I maybe tried for an hour. And then I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. So look, Final Fantasy is not for me. 7, though, I would like to go back and revisit 7. But I got a PlayStation 5, man. If you want that shit, like, go and get a PlayStation, man.
And that's the easy answer.
Yeah.
Like there's a really easy. Go ahead.
I don't look. People are like, if Final Fantasy's not coming to Xbox, I've seen this on Twitter. If Final Fantasy's not coming to Xbox, I'm not buying any Square Enix games on a PlayStation. Man, if I want a game, I'm gonna go get it. I don't really care like who developed it, but if I have opinions on developers, and my opinion on Square Enix isn't a high one, so it ain't gonna stop me from buying a game. I mean, they made what do we get? We get Guardians of the Galaxy. That was absolutely fire, man. So yeah, they make some good games. They make some bad games. Do I care about Final Fantasy? Yeah, not really. No.
Okay, no, that's fair. Once again, there may not be people that are huge fans of Final Fantasy. So I'm interested to see Pong's and Fuzzy's opinion on this. Once again, the community been all over the place with this. Obviously, coming off that information and, not getting the results. A lot of people want it. But once again, there is an answer. You can just buy a PlayStation and play it. Like or a PC, whatever the case may be, and play it. Like you can do that. So it may not be the answer that you want. It may not make sense. And I'm sure we'll get into that. So go ahead, Pong. Where you at on this, man?
Well, first of all, shout out to Other Zinc. He came through. Thank you very much, sir. My Saturday night is complete.
Oh, shout out. Zinc with a hot take flying off the handle.
He said F Final Fantasy and Persona. So, yes, sir. Hot take in play. All right, let's go. As far as Final Fantasy goes, look, it's business at the end of the day. I don't agree with these types of business decisions by Square Enix. And you could say, I always say I don't run billion-dollar companies. And that's obviously a fact. So I don't make these types of decisions on a daily basis. But if you look at what Square's been going through, without Final Fantasy 14, that company would be in serious trouble right now. They probably already would have been acquired at this point. If they didn't have the moneymaker that Final Fantasy 14 is. So I can look from afar, from an inexperienced eye, and say they don't make the best choices. They took the bag from Sony to initially start out with. Cool. That happens. It's business. Times exclusivity, whether we like it or not, it's part of this game. It always has been. It's a chess move. Understand they have great partnership with Sony. They have had for a long time. I believe it's one step removed from an acquisition. So, of course, they're going to give them sweetheart deals on that side of the fence. That's fine. Again, Microsoft does it their own way. That's why I don't agree with people complaining and moaning that $1 trillion company comes along and starts deciding to flex its bank account and start buying things. Look, that's business. That's how this works. Okay. It is what it is. So for me, that's the straight answer. I'm on board as well. I have always bought multiple consoles each generation so that I could enjoy the games that were on one that weren't on the other. That's been the name of the game. Not everybody is in that position right now. I'm not in the position. The pandemic killed me, okay, and killed my family. Not literally, obviously, but which it did to many people. But at the end of the day, it crushed my financial situation. So I wasn't in the position to keep my PS5 this time around. I had one, I had the digital, and I sold it right away because I couldn't justify it. But I eventually want to get a PS5 so I can play some of the games over there. Absolutely, 100%. But not everybody's in that position, right? So I feel for all the Final Fantasy players or fans that may be only able to do the Xbox ecosystem because they chose the Xbox ecosystem for all the other benefits that come along with that, whether it be Game Pass and all that kind of stuff, but they still love Final Fantasy. I feel for all of you, okay? And I don't agree Square Enix should be trying to cultivate the fan base. They give us odd games here and there. You know, great, we got Octopath Traveler before Sony ever saw it. They make these decisions. We get Crisis Core. Why give us Crisis Core? Why give us the prequel to 7? But it's great. Some Final Fantasy fans are really going to enjoy it, and I hope it's a lot better than what it was on PSP, because I personally did not enjoy it on PSP at all. But at the end of the day, right, I think that there should be my point, and I went on a huge long rant, and I'll keep it short here. This morning on Living Split Screen, a huge long rant. My problem here is, once again, journalists are turning a blind eye. Once again, it's only questioned on one side of the fence, even though all these blue checkmark mainstream line journalists claim that number one, they're not biased, number two, that they're not blacklisted from companies if they do certain things. You guys are all BSing here, okay? It's because this is a major story.
Brother.
This is a major story. They put stickers. Boom. Shout out to Boomstick, who posted a picture because he keeps his games plastic wrapped. And he's got the actual sticker that was posted on the PlayStation 4 copies that said exclusivity until April of 2021. That is over with by over a year now. Where is it? Xbox is now on the upswing. This is not the Xbox One generation where it was cool to dog Xbox all the time. Xbox is on the upswing. We've seen journalists favor Xbox in some certain situations this gen. Why are they not asking Square Enix like they asked, the Tomb Raider creators when they came out that Xbox was going to have exclusivity? Why are not forcing Square Enix to at least put out some type of answer and then write 3 billion articles about why it's not a good idea in 2022 to have this happen for all the Final Fantasy fans who are on Xbox only? Why is that not being written? You went after Bethesda nonstop and Xbox to answer the question if Elder Scrolls was going to be exclusive. I know that's an acquisition. I know this is a third party. I'm not telling you to go after Sony, but I am telling you, why aren't you at least reaching out to Square Enix for comment on why it's not coming to Xbox right now? Why not? I know you guys have Xbox readers. Those people would appreciate some answers. You guys know in the media that's a big story because you all sit in Twitter and you write your clickbait articles off of whatever the hot console war topic is currently on Twitter. So I know you're all paying attention. You know this is a topic right now in this community and it deserves answers. It's worth an article. Go do your job. You are called a journalist for a reason. You think you're higher than us who sit here on YouTube out of passion because you guys are getting paid and because you got IGN next to your name. You think you're better than all of us and you despise that we actually have a voice now. Well, guess what? Go prove us. You guys have connections that a lot of us don't have. Go reach out. Not one article written about the Final Fantasy anniversary. Not one article. I went through all of the mainline all the mainstream ones. Not one even had one simple line at the end. We've reached out to Square Enix. For further comment on why this is not coming to Xbox after the exclusivity supposedly ended April of 2021. Not one had one line about that whatsoever. That's ridiculous as a professional journalist who's getting paid to do this while we sit here and talk about this straight out of love, straight out of passion for this community and for this industry. So again, that's where my problem is with it. Again, whether the answer is something we like or we don't like, I just don't get why there's not articles being written right now about it and why those questions aren't out there to make Square Enix answer in at least some kind of fashion. So, and for all the people who say Square Enix would just say no comment, well, guess what? The dev team behind Final Fantasy 14 has been open about Final Fantasy 14 not coming to Xbox. They've been open about it. They talked about it plenty of times, multiple times. There was problems in the beginning. Phil and his team cleared up all those problems. Then they came back and said, well, we're not going to do time and resources, just too much. We're working on fixing the game. Got the game fixed. came back. The question was asked again. They said, well, maybe once we get through all the DLC and the expansions, we might be open to doing that. Well, we'll see. We got answers. Whether we like them or not, we still got answers. So don't tell me that Square Enix is just going to give you a no comment. Don't shrug your shoulders and say, oh, that's just the way it is. Sony and Square are close. Hey, that's just how that's just how it falls, man. It's no big deal. No, Bethesda and Xbox were close. ZeniMax and Xbox were close, but you still had a million questions for them as to why it was going down and why there might be exclusivity with Elder Scrolls and Fallout in the future. Look, go do your job.
And there was articles written about that nonstop. That was in the news for
correct. Months and months, risk it. Months. And this is not a small game. Final Fantasy VII, the franchise alone is one of the biggest in industry history. Final Fantasy VII by itself, again, not my cup of tea. So I got I like Final Fantasy X personally. Final Fantasy VII to me is a little overrated. But again, this is one of the biggest games, period, in history. It's one of the most beloved games. This has interest. The community is talking about it nonstop. Go ask the questions. Do your job, journalists.
All right, go ahead. It's on you, Fuzz.
I don't know if I can even add anything after that. He
didn't mop
pretty
that
much
up,
nailed
man.
it. Pretty much dropped the mic and walked away. No, seriously, it is a shame. And I'll be honest. Even when I was a PlayStation guy, I didn't really care for Final Fantasy. Like I think when
15,
what?
You're PlayStation. I gotta go, man. I see you guys later.
Well, no. Before, let's put it this way: before Drive Club, I was pretty much team PlayStation. I didn't want anything to do with Xbox primarily because they were kind of screwing up things for PC as far as Windows 98 was great, Windows ME was terrible. Windows XP was great. Windows Vista was kind of terrible, although, talking with Kayasante, it looks like I was, holding on to legacy hardware was part of the problem. But outside of that, I didn't really care for anything Xbox. I was like, if they can't do PC gaming right, why bother? But, Drive Club, they were saying, oh, it's a Forza killer. And then it had a terrible launch. And I was like, well, let me check out Forza since they happen to put it in the ads. Let's see what this game that they're talking about that they're trying to kill, and haven't looked back since. But yeah, I was never really the biggest Final Fantasy player. I have both consoles, so I don't have a dog in a fight at all. But it does suck, and I agree with Pong. The media should do their jobs like they try to do with was it Tomb Raider? Like they try to do even with Starfield. Oh, it'll definitely be on PS5 and they had to have, Pete Hines apologize to them as no, it's not coming. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry type of deal. But nobody is, at least on the media end of things, nobody's saying anything about, what Square is doing. And after they sold off Square, or after Square sold off Crystal and Eidos Montreal and stuff, I don't really have much more to look forward to from them. I mean, I guess they still have rights to Outriders, but aside from that, it is what it is. But I agree with Pong. More journalists should step up and at least, even if it's a no comment situation, get the no comment on record. At least show that you're reaching out and have it on record somewhere, just something, as opposed to the clickbait articles that they constantly do. Like there was more articles about ray tracing for motorsport when it was clearly stated on what their intentions were for ray tracing reflections as far as in game. But yet they have like 22 different articles about, is it global illumination ray tracing or is it ray trace reflections and where? And it's like, I didn't see this much questioning of GT7, and it was a little bit on the misleading side when that was announced.
Can you imagine the articles had Xbox polls if Forza came out and they gave review copies with no monetization or locked and not shown, and then all of a sudden came out and cars costed $20, $40 in real money? Can you imagine the articles that would come out from all those reviewers? My God, we got barely a peep out of it.
Well, the funniest part is they actually sandbagged Forza Motorsport 7 with these loot boxes when there were no loot boxes in the game.
Yeah.
They were in-game currency that it's basically you buy the prize. It's like, hey, do you want to take the currency that you got from the winnings in the game and put $5,000 to possibly get the chance to win $100,000 car? That's not a loot box. You can't spend actual money to get those boxes from your pocket. You had to race around the track, get some money from that, and then buy those prize boxes.
So you're using like in-game currency.
Exactly. But no, those are loot boxes. No, they're not loot boxes. But they drove that home to the point where I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, I can't come out of pocket and buy any of this. So and it was a good way to have it where, and I know a lot of people prefer more so having to work harder to get the cars, and Forza does tend to throw cars at you, which is great because it's a game. It's a simulation game, so you get to experience different cars. If you're a car fanatic like I am, you're going to want to drive around in as many different cars as possible. But I've gotten sidetracked. I'm on Forza too much. But Square Enix, I mean, somebody needs to put their feet to the fire as far as why. Now, I have an underlining theory of what's going to wind up happening because the wording is it's like the devil's in the details. And typically with stuff coming to Xbox later, it's after the entire game is released. So all of the DLC, which they're getting ready to release part 2, and there's supposed to be 3 parts to it, and that third part might not be for another 2 to 3 years. I think the original plan, even though aside from the sticker on the packaging, was to wait until all the DLC was released, and then that's when it comes to Xbox. But at that point, everybody would have forgotten about the game. They've been focused on, at that point, Final Fantasy 16 or whatever else that Square Enix is working on. So it's kind of like a waste of time. And it's like, all right, do you want to do a test case where you put the prequel out to see if people are interested? We're in a day and age where you don't have to really spend much of your capital to make digital copies. Just say, you know what, Xbox guys, if you want this game, it's digital only. We're not doing physical copies. Now, I know that's going to suck for those that are all about physical copies only, but that would be the best way for them to just, if they're worried about the resources and stuff, there's not much difference in the coding since we're based off of a PC language now. Some of the menus and button prompts and things like that are where the bigger differences are. All they would have to do is do a digital copy. Or, you know what? In a lot of cases, usually when you go to the console makers, you can say, hey, we're looking at porting your game. Sometimes if it's a big enough get, they will actually contribute development help, which Microsoft has done before to help some developers port some of their games over before. So, but Square, yes, they do have a good relationship with Sony, but I think they have an even better relationship with Nintendo. It's just this weirdness that between Sony trying to, there's no other way to put it, cockblock Xbox as far as when it comes to any games on that system. But I don't know. At this point, and I know a lot of people are like, well, how can you boycott something when you didn't buy it before? It's like, just speak with your wallet. If this is the thing where you're only going to be in the one ecosystem, then at this point, my strongest suggestion is to find something similar, because they are, there's a lot more JRPGs coming to the Xbox ecosystem as of now. So I would say give those a try. If you're already in Game Pass, a lot of them are coming day and date in some cases, or coming here soon. So give those a try, and hopefully you'll find a new series that will grab your attention, that you can play on your preferred console. But outside of that, I have no more money for Square at this point, unless they somehow help out Outriders or people People Can Fly with getting that thing back on track. But I mean, they already just recently did an update and DLC and stuff like that, but they need to make sure that they give them the proper cut like they were supposed to, so that game continues to move forward. But that's all I got. The hell with Square.
that's another area where I don't like Square, man. They just seem to shit on their they're Western developers, and it's not cool, man. Which is why I thought we'd see Microsoft buy Crystal. Obviously, that didn't happen. That was Embracer, but I knew someone was going to take that side of the business off them because, that relationship's been sour for years, man. You can see it happen. So,
yeah, no, for sure. So we got a couple other questions here. So I want to make sure before we close the show, we get to a couple more. So shout out to Focus Active. So I had to go back in chat a little bit to get caught up on the question. So he said Gamescom and TGS still on the calendar. Do y'all think we see any of the games we expected to see last week? Does anybody want to take that?
I think Gamescom, we might see a new controller. Outside of that, I don't know if we'll see anything else other than updates possibly on stuff. I don't know. I would say it's more so controller, maybe GoldenEye.
Man, I hope they do. I hope that Microsoft have listened to the negative side of what's been coming out of the computer. Because look, you see a lot. The negative stuff seems to get promoted more on Twitter and in social media than the positive stuff. And from what I have seen and spoken to with people in the community, it was a largely positive showing, that showcase. But there's obviously, everyone has this, they're rating the show or thinking about the show and thinking about what wasn't there. And I think Microsoft, they can't miss that. They listen to the community. They would have heard that. And I hope that we see it in later shows. I hope we see it in, if it's in Keely's show later in the week. What up, Umbra? To me, I think it was a missed opportunity not to have those things at the show. And I think, they have an opportunity now to say, hey, this is where we're at with Avowed. This is where we're at with Hellblade. This is where we're at with whatever it may be. Whether they do, I don't know, man. I hope they do.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna do that. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like the Avowed and all of that stuff. Yeah, you figure they would have that at their actual showcase, but that's just me. Once again, I'm not sure if that's something that I would. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be.
Think about it. If you think about it, like, as I said, you don't need to have a big, massive trailer and a exclusive the whole thing happening. You could just have someone giving a small update, cruising in. I don't know, sort of in the vein that they did with that Last of Us remake, sort of like that, not as long, quite short. Just give that community an update, keep the excitement going into 2023. I think that would be a smart move. Like, absolutely, for the big reveal, showing everyone what's happening, like the big trailer, that's always going to be in the Xbox showcase. But to talk about the games, I don't think would be a bad thing,
No, I don't think, I'm not saying it'll be a bad thing. I just don't know if it's going to actually happen. I just, just thinking about the show and thinking about, where you want to put that information. I mean, yeah, you could announce it there at Gamescom, no problem. And I think we'd all be happy for that. I just don't know if they'll if they're thinking like, we'll just put Avowed information out at Gamescom, so I don't know. We'll dive into this a little bit more, but I do want to make sure. Hold on, let me double back here really quick here. I don't know if anybody else wanted to tackle that question. Fuzz, Pong, anybody else want to jump in on that?
Go, Pong. I'm sorry.
No. It doesn't. Again, for me, if this is the way forward, I don't have a problem with it. Again, it was a shock because they didn't set expectations, and they've been setting expectations much better over the past couple of years. And I think that's why it came to such a shock. Again, all of us on these shows, we always have our hypes and our wish lists and all that kind of stuff. And we do all this fun speculation about what's going to be shown at these showcases. But had Greenberg come out, a couple weeks prior and said, look, we want to set expectations for the showcase. We're going to focus on 12 months. Well, all of the conversation in this community would have been completely different. But if this is the way forward, I think this is actually a good idea. I think looking forward to an E3 showcase where we get the 12-month roadmap is going to be really exciting, like really fantastic. But you still have to sell hopes and dreams at some point. You still have to show that future too, because gamers get ultra excited for that. And it's something that we all want to see. You still have to have those showcases where you do show off CGI trailers for future stuff and give people a glimpse into things and kind of give updates on where those games are coming along, and then show them again big time like they did this year with Redfall, Starfield, Motorsport, etc. at that showcase when they're ready to rock and roll within the next 12 months. So I do like this plan if that's what they're going to do. And I do think that this was not an outlier show. I think they have this in mind. So then you do have to get down to the point that we've discussed plenty of times here and elsewhere, PTK, which is they have to have supplemental shows. They have to have a Nintendo Direct state of play type show a couple times each year where they showcase some of those future games and give updates on other games, etc. They can use
just by sheer volume, they're gonna have to have
by sheer volume, and we're talking this is without Activision Blizzard, right? Once they get Activision Blizzard, holy cow! So this is going to be a necessity. So Gamescom, if they bring back XO this year, which there's talk they may, if that happens, that's where I think we have a real good shot. And then of course the VGAs, which is always a big point. They love to use Jeff and the VGAs to do so, but I definitely think they're going to have to supplement it if this is the new way forward. And again, we know nothing right now. They caught us completely blindsided us with the 12-month box that they put themselves in on this show. I understand the reasons behind it. And again, taking a step back after my initial shock, looking at the whole show, I actually like the idea, like I said. So, but they're going to have other places that they do the other stuff, that the future, the hopes, dreams, here's what we're working on. Here's what we're excited about coming down the road at some point in the next couple of years. I think that definitely has to be in place if they're going to do this going forward. So I could see it happening.
Fuzz, you want to talk? You want to jump in on that?
No, I think the 12-month show setup is I hope that continues, but the additional shows is another. Yeah, that's something that they definitely need to look at. But as far as Gamescom, I'm just thinking it's a controller, maybe GoldenEye, maybe one other small surprise. But I think they are tucking their tails just because they don't have any big hitters just yet for the end of 2022 as far as first party. So they're going to just play it by ear until the end of the year. And I think they're probably still finalizing some of the third party, deals for 2022. But after 2022, that's it. I don't think that there's any more delay. Well, I won't say any more delay, but I don't think we'll have to worry about content ever again after the new year.
No, you're bang on. And that's why I think we're going to keep seeing these 12-month shows because, I think they went too early, right, with the 12-month thing, but I think next year would be perfect for a 12-month show.
Yeah, especially with, what we got on the slate as far as what we know so far is supposed to be there. So, obviously. All right, so let's go ahead and actually, we'll grab another question here because we got a little bit more time, and there was some really good questions. I think I missed one. There was another one fairly close here. Hold on. Bear with me here. All right. So it was actually Shonsu. Shout out to you, Shonsu. And this is actually a great question. I hadn't thought about this much. He said, do you think they announced a Starfield Special Edition console at the Game Awards? That is a damn good question. I hadn't even thought about that, a custom console for Starfield. I hadn't even considered it. Do I think they're I absolutely hope they do a custom console. I'm just curious to see what it looks like and paint scheme and if they got like planets or whatever it looks like. I know it would be amazing if they decided to do that. But anybody else want to tackle this? Biscuit, anybody?
That's 100%. That console's coming. Yeah. Like if you this is one of their front and center staples. Now it's going to be the Xbox exclusive. You're going to see a console, a Starfield console. That's 100%. I would bet my house and all of my children on that one.
All right, so Pong, I know you might be the resident expert on this one.
I'm not the resident expert. There's certainly the special edition Starfield that we know is out there that's going to have that watch that was showcased again in this last showing with the gameplay. That's definitely coming, and they're going to probably make a big deal. I would not doubt that we do get a console out of it. Now, where they announce it at, I don't know, but I would definitely, I'm on Riskit side with this for sure. I think that Starfield is that next big IP for Xbox that they're going to lean heavy into, and by then consoles should be more available, hopefully, especially with it being delayed till next year. So they've got some time on that. I definitely think they should make one. I'd love to see it. It would look absolutely incredible. And I hope it is the Series X versus the Series S, but they might do it on the Series S too. Who knows? But either way, definitely worth it. And I can't wait to see it, because I think it's going to happen too.
Awesome.
I'm calling it now. They're definitely doing it, but it is going to be the Series S. I'm going to look at it as a miss that it's not the Series X and S or just the X, but they're going to do a Series S Starfield Edition, because of that speaker or the vent circle thing looking like a planet, I can totally see the design right now type of thing. So
I mean, I can see a design for both. I mean, when my
Yeah.
immediate brain went to the X when I
Yeah.
thought about a custom console, it's for that game.
Yeah, I think after the Halo, like they'll probably only do the Series X for like bigger deals. Like if they eventually have like more DLC or like a MMO Starfield as well, then I think that's when you have a Series X version. But for right now, I'm thinking Series S.
To your point too, Fuzzy, they're going to expect a lot of people to pick up the S just to play some of the Bethesda games. That's kind of like the whole, it's going to be the companion console. We've talked about that so many times with the PS5 and whatever else. It would make sense to put it on the S for sure. I just want to see it on the X.
I would love to see it on the X as well, because then I can either move the X I have to another or to another room, or I could sell it and then get the Starfield Series X. But it's going to be a Series S, or at least that's my thought process behind it, and we'll see it within a month or two of the release. Like it'll hit stores and it'll be fully stocked and ready to go and fly off the shelves shortly after.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. I think it's. I mean, you know, like this is a great opportunity, and the game is big enough. It makes sense. Whether it's the S or the X, you know, we'll get to that obviously in due time. But I'm just excited, and I definitely hope they don't miss the opportunity to make a custom Starfield console. So, I think we'll grab one more question. And shout out to She Snow. I see you, She Snow, man. We all are of the mind that Xbox is in a very, very good position, my guy. So I don't think any of us share the opinion or over expecting on Xbox. You know, we all do have different opinions, and if somebody does feel like Xbox underdelivered, that's okay, right? So we're good with that too. But I think we've all established, right, Pong, Fuzz, I would agree, Risk It, that Xbox is in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
For
Again, I have more games than know what to do with, of course.
So,
like I said, even without Starfield, even with the biggest disappointment that I've had in a long time. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm plenty good. And other Zinc, you're right too. People would still have complained. I'm just saying that the conversations would have been different. The speculation would have been different. The tone of that show, had we gotten that upfront knowledge that it was only going to be 12 months, would have been different. I'm not saying that it would have erased all the complaining. Absolutely not. There's people out there who want to see Perfect Dark, for God's sakes. Who knows when that's coming? They want to see Fable. Look, yeah, there'll always be people that are unhappy with it. I'm just saying that the entire conversation around it would have altered had they told us up front it was going to be 12 months only. That's all I was saying.
Okay, nothing wrong with that at all. So if I think I didn't see any other questions in here from chat. So it looks like we're gonna go ahead and wrap the show up here right now, man. You guys have been awesome and amazing. This show has been awesome. Shout out to everybody that's come out and watched us. I've seen a lot of new people in chat. So once again, if you're enjoying the content here, we do this every week. So come hang out with us, pull up, as I say, you know, on Twitter, pull up, hang out with us, kick back, kick your shoes off. So before we, you know, close the show officially, though, we got to give a round of applause to our guests here. So shout out to Mr. Risk It for the biscuit. I will let you, let everybody know where they can find you and let everybody catch it with you at, brother. But I want to say personally, as the, host of the show here, I appreciate you. Thank you, man. You're welcome to be on the show any point in time. Super knowledgeable. Do me a favor, chat. If you're a fan of what we do here at the Shop Podcast, go check out Risk It for the Biscuit, the YouTube channel, everything, Twitter account, all that's down in the description below. Do me a favor, do that. So Risk It, let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on the show, man. It's super awesome to be here. I love chopping it up with your chat. Pong Soul, it's always a pleasure. Fuzzy, this is the first time I got a chance to speak to you, man, and I really enjoyed your takes. And PT, man, of course, man. You guys got a great show going here. You got to keep it going, man. I love being here. You could find me over there on the YouTube channel, which I've linked in the chat. We do Xbox Infinite, 8 p.m. Fridays EST time if you're in the US, and most of you will be. If you're in Australia, it's 10 a.m. on Saturday. And you can find me over on Twitter. usually at war with someone about something. But it's all shits and giggles to me, guys. I don't take any of that stuff on Twitter seriously, unless we're having a serious conversation. Yeah, man, awesome to be here. We had some great topics and great stuff to talk about. It's a really exciting time to be an Xbox player, and it's a really exciting time to be a gamer of any sort. We are going to get some of the best games that we have ever seen, with some of the best tech that we have ever seen. And I'm just excited to be alive playing games, man, right now.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, man. Once again, guys, do me a favor. You know, we show love here at the Shop Podcast. Go show him some love. Pass that along to Risk It for the Biscuit. Once again, Podcast Xbox Infinite. You heard the name. So appreciate you, man. Once again, you're always welcome on the show. So you might just be getting random messages from me saying, you know, are you busy this week? So shout out to you once again, everything you put together over there at Xbox Infinite, man. So you guys show that love and support, man. Appreciate you. But got to get to my two brothers here. We'll start with Mr. Pong Harvey, man. Pong's all over the place. But he'll get into that. He'll get into the details.
Yeah, but we're back to normal. I'm not doing 14 shows in 5 days or whatever the hell it was at one point last week. Listen, we're back to normal, but Gamers Christmas just got done with. We got all of our presents again. Got some disappointments, got some underwear, got some socks in there, but we got so much great stuff, like Riskit just said. As I always say, it's the golden age of gaming. No better time in history to be a gamer than right now. And it was fantastic to end my Saturday night back on the Shop Podcast, as always, with my brothers, PTK, and with Fuzzy, and of course, our guest, Risk It for the Biscuit, who I always love listening to and talking to. It's a great time. Great take, sir. Listen, I got to get real here for a second and talk about something in real life. We've got a fantastic, phenomenal member of this community that needs some energy, needs some love, needs some support, needs some prayers. However you do it, Assassin Lupa, she is having some medical issues, which she's kept secret. She's kept secret from most of the community, but us in the Fun Speculation family and some other places knew about it. And her husband has talked about it and openly discussed it with some people and advised that they can go ahead and let the community know. So she was in for some brain scans. While she was being scanned, she had a stroke. So they've currently got her sedated and hoping that the brain swelling goes down and that kind of stuff. So please, whatever you do this weekend, please take a moment out of your time. Think about her. If you haven't had the pleasure of speaking to her in chat or listening to her on a show, she is just a phenomenal human being. Not only just a part of this community, and she's a bright light in this world, and we need more of those. So please keep her in your thoughts, prayers, energy, whatever the case may be for you. Please do so. I just wanted to bring that into play because real life does happen out here, folks. It's not just all about the entertainment and the fun all the time. So otherwise, you guys can find me Pong Soul on Twitter, Pong Soul, of course, on Xbox. And then, of course, you can follow me there and I'll follow you back. And then, of course, this week, I probably will not be on Xbox Factor Podcast, but you got to go check out Mr. Boomstick, Double Barrel Gaming on Tuesday. It is the place to be. All good things green, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Mav, of course, Boxenberger when he's available. We got VJ, we got N64 Josh there. You're going to hear lots of great things. People pop in there all the time. So stop by Xbox Factor on Tuesdays. Thursday night, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. That's right. Join us, two-man show, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time on Fun Speculations channel. We're going to have more to talk about this week. We didn't even get to Forza Motorsport last Thursday because we talked about Starfield and the rest of the showcase for so long. So please drop in there Thursday nights. He and I just love it. We might have a guest here and there as well. And then, of course, Friday nights back on Fun Speculations channel for Xbox Ultimate at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. We go up, we go down, we go left, we go right, but we have nothing but fun there. Please drop in there on your Friday night and check us out. And then, of course, Saturday mornings, Living Split Screen, my brother from another, Steel Rain, and I, bringing it to you live, raw, and uncut, as Steel always likes to say. Listen, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, Living Split Screen. Split Screen is all one word. Be there, tell a friend, bring a friend, because we're on mission 1K, 3 p.m. UK time. You're going to have a good time. We went for 4.5 hours this morning into the afternoon. So just join us. Jump in, jump out if you have to. Doesn't matter. Mav does that all the time. Boom does that all the time. Listen, however you follow us, listen to us, just do it. Living Split Screen every Saturday morning, and then I'll be back here next week for the Shop Podcast. Otherwise, it's Golden Age of Gaming, people. Can't tell you anymore. It's been shown to you now. Get out there, enjoy some games, enjoy life, hug those that you love closest to you, play what you love what you play, and I'm going to talk to you all real soon.
Appreciate you, man. Every single week, the battery of the podcast, man. Shout out to Pong Soul being here consistently every single week, bringing the energy. No matter what's going on, you always get that Pong. So we appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much, man. So my brother Fuzzy, let everybody know what's cooking with you, man, on a few more shows now.
Yeah. Well, just want to thank Risk It for the Biscuit for being on here. It was awesome having you on here, man. Love your takes as well. We'll definitely interact more with you on Twitter. I try not to get into too much of the console wars, but yeah, you definitely keep it entertaining on Twitter. Man, I love doing this, just talking about the hobby I love, and for anybody that wants to hear my rambles about anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. Actually, as far as the shows that I'm on, you can find me on FSP on Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fun Speculations channel. You can find me on Breakfast with Boom on Mr. Boomstick XL's channel at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, and at 9 p.m. on Fun Speculations channel, you can find me on Xbox Ultimate, and then right back here again on Saturday with Pong and PTK on the Shop Podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love doing this, and thanks to everybody in the chat.
Appreciate you guys, man. And last but not least, the host with the most, PTK Blam across the board. Hit me up on Xbox Live. You want to play some games? Hit me up on, obviously on Twitter. That's where you're going to be able to keep up with me personally, as well as everything Shop Podcast related, man. Shout out to everybody in chat. Shout out to all the new people. You guys are freaking amazing. So once again, next week, same time, same place. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe. We will do it again next week. Peace out, everyone.
Later.